Hello everybody, I'm Josh and I was a computer science examiner for a really long time. I was a head of computer science in UK based schools, and also I run a tutoring business where I've helped thousands of students to get better grades in lots of different computer science courses. This series of lessons is all to do with giving you as little as possible to remember and still being able to get those top grades. And I've really tried to condense this one down into just one video, and an actually relatively short video, of doing a whole unit in one, which is just all to do with cybersecurity. And this is threats and prevention. Now, what we're going to be looking at with these ones is this is all specifications are they need to do this. So iGCSE, OCR, AQA, you all have to do this. Now, I'm not going to be doing absolutely everything off these, but what I'm doing is I'm using my experience to give you the highest frequency things that could potentially come up. And then that means that you just focus on those and they're most likely to come up. If you need more help, reach out on my website. I'm happy to help you. But yeah, that's what I've tried to do on this one, to help condense it as much as possible. Now, the two main causes of cybersecurity threats, so if you get a question on that one, is not updating software and human error. Okay, so those are the key areas where cybersecurity threats can't happen. We also have to follow up with prevention methods. So prevention methods, generally, the one that I'm going to talk about here, because this is quite a common one, is pen testing or penetration testing. And what it is where we pay some white hat hackers and we say, can you break into our system, and then tell us how to improve the system and try and make it better and less insecure. So what we also do is there's some different types of pen testers. There are ones who know how your system works, so they might be in-house. So essentially what might happen is you have a team of people and they're always checking to see if there's potential threats. But a more likely situation is where you actually hire some external people who don't know how the system works, because this is how hackers are going to actually try and get onto your system. It's unlikely that you could get someone from inside your organization who's going to hack you. So that can be quite a good method in trying to prevent these from happening. Now, the way I've structured the next part is to do with the highest frequency ones that I see come up a lot, threats, and then also the prevention methods. Now, they could specifically ask you, what is malware, what is a DDoS? And then what they quite often do is then follow it up with, how would you prevent this? You have to pair the prevention method up with the correct security threat. If you do it with the wrong thing, then what? So for example, if I said malware, the way I would prevent this is locking doors. That doesn't make any sense. So what you have to do is you have to pair it up with the correct one. So the definition for malware, I have no idea why they like this on the mark scheme so much, is software that replicates itself on your device, then causes damage by corrupting and deleting files. The prevention method, nice and easy for you, is antivirus or anti-malware. How that works is malware, it has a library of those that it's searching for. It then matches that piece of code and then quarantines it and deletes it. The next one, another high frequency one, is a DDoS. DDoS is a hacker creates what's called a botnet, which is just loads of computers that they've taken control of. It then floods a website or device with requests until it crashes. A prevention method for this is a firewall, and what it does is it creates a blacklist of IP addresses and then stops communication between them and those IP addresses. The next one is to do with social engineering or blagging. Okay, so this is where a hacker may, for example, wear a high visibility jacket. And that high visibility jacket, the idea is it's trying to trick the staff of a company into thinking they should be on your site. What they then do is they can gain access to sensitive details by going onto a computer, corrupting and then stealing them. The prevention method, and I know some of these sound a little bit stupid, but they are quite common, is locking doors to important locations. So maybe you have the server room locked. CCTV, biometrics, so that's fingerprint scanners, eye scanners, things which make it more difficult for people to simply just walk in. The next one is spyware. Even though spyware technically comes under malware, and that's actually a point to be careful with. Okay, so I did see on one of these longer form questions where they talked about 3 different cybersecurity threats. Now, malware and spyware you were able to put those down. But if you were then to put also a Trojan, which I've left off, a virus, those are technically repeat points because they all come under the category of malware. Spyware there is a distinction between it, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second, but just be very careful that you are not putting repeating points, and repeating points are spyware. So, well, not spyware, but malware, viruses, and Trojans. I would generally steer clear, unless the question specifically says write 2 different forms of malware, then you're fine. But with the repeating ones, it's all to do with viruses, malware, and Trojans. So just be careful on that one. So spyware, it replicates itself on your device. Now, the difference with this one is it listens to your actions on the computer. So it looks for passwords and sends them to a third party. So instead of it like deleting things, it's looking and seeing what you're doing on your computer system. The prevention method on this one, again, nice and easy for you to remember, is just anti-spyware. And it works exactly the same way of what the anti-malware, antivirus works. It just has a library of different codes that it's looking for. It searches for them, and then it finds a piece of code and then quarantines it and deletes it. So it finds that spyware and gets it off your system. Last ones. So we've got phishing. Phishing is another high-frequency one, which they sometimes ask for, which is targeted emails that pretend to be from someone else to get the users to click on them and give sensitive data. Prevention method is what's called an acceptable use policy. So when you go for an organization or at school, you aren't allowed, there's certain things which you have to agree to, not to go onto dodgy websites, not to click from emails from people that you don't know. And that can be one of the most easy ways to prevent these things from happening. Farming is a site pretending to be another to get the user to type in their details, which then sends to a third party so they can access it. The most easy prevention method on this one is antivirus, and obviously that's the same definition as before.